So what are the different types of bones, joints, and muscles used in this movement? The bones. There are three main bones in the foot: the tarsal, metatarsals, and phalanges. In the anterior view of my movement, on me striking the ball, you can see I mainly use my left foot for balance and power, and my right foot to kick the ball. In my movement, I use all the main bones in my foot. I have labelled and identified for you whereabouts in my foot these bones that I am using are. I have identified them using different colours. For example, the red colour showing the tarsals, blue colour showing metatarsals, and the black showing the phalanges. So my metatarsals and tarsals are both major bones in my foot that are used in both of my feet when undertaking this movement. I'd use both these bones in my left foot to jump higher because these bones are mainly used when jumping, or in my case, achieving maximum power. In my right foot again, using both these bones for power when I strike the ball. So for my phalanges, my left foot is the one on the floor about to go in the air. I am using my phalanges to push up from the ground into the air so I can achieve maximum power when I shoot. On my right foot, the phalanges aren't used as much because I am not kicking the ball with that part of my foot. The lower extremities. The fibula, tibia, patella, and femur are the main bones within my leg that I am using to strike the ball in the best possible and most effective way. Again, in the anterior view, you can see me striking the ball, and you can see, by me identifying with different colours, the different bones that I am using. There are two main bones in what some people like to call it your shin. They are called your tibia, which is the one identified in black, and fibula, the one identified in purple. Your tibia is the big main bone in the middle of your shin, and the fibula is a small bone next to it. I am using both these bones in both my legs, because my left leg I had jumped and landed on those two bones, and in my right leg strike the ball and use the two bones to achieve maximum power. So your patella is your kneecap, and is the one identified in red, and is very important for your everyday life. My patella is very important to my movement because I am twisting it to achieve a good technique for both legs, for when I strike the ball, which in the end will improve my game. My femur is also another bone that helps me with my striking of the ball. Because this bone helps me to generate power into my strike, it is used more in my right foot than my left, because it is the one I'm kicking with, and the one in which I need the most power, which is identified in the colour blue. In the upper extremities of my body, you can see I'm using four different bones: the pelvic girdle, spine, scapula, and clavicle. Each one of these bones have their own individual participation in the movement. With this anterior view of me striking the ball, I have identified the four different bones using four different colours. Black being the pelvic girdle, blue the spine, red the scapula, and purple being the clavicle bone. So the pelvic girdle and the spine are both under their own colours, showing you where they are on the body, and are both crucial in this movement and in your everyday life. So in this movement, you can see how I am rotating my pelvic girdle to achieve power in my shot, in my right leg, and balance in my left. With the spine, I am keeping my back as straight as possible, so that when I strike the ball, it will go towards the goal, and also, not having my back straight would not help me to balance. My scapula and clavicle are both being rotated again in this movement, to mainly concentrate on balancing myself, and the more I twist them, the more balance and power I can build into my strike, and the easier it is for me to strike the ball. The plantar flexion joint.
In Jeremy's left foot, you can see that he's using the plantar flexion joint, which is when, for example, he is bending his foot away from the tibia bone. So let's pretend this is the tibia bone and this is his foot. As you guys can see, his foot is bending away from the tibia bone.
The rotation joint.
As you guys can see, Jeremy's hip rotates when he's about to take a shot. This joint that is being performed is called the rotation. It helps Jeremy to move or rotate his hips to get more power behind his shot, and to help him balance more, which effectively improves his shots and his game.
The circumduction joint.
As you guys can see to my right, which is to your left, as Jeremy kicked the ball, his left arm moved in a circular motion. This helped him balance himself, and it is known as the movement of the joint called the circumduction.
Agonist and antagonist muscles.
Identifying the agonist and antagonist muscles in the movement. So in the picture that you can see, the right and left arms are both going through an abduction movement. Now in this movement, it is the deltoid that contracts or tightens when lifting the arm to the sides of the body, making the antagonist of this movement the pectoralis major, as it extends and relaxes when you lift the arm. There is a plantar flexion movement in the left leg when Jeremy lifts off the ground, and so the agonist muscles in this movement are the gastrocnemius and the soleus, as they generate the power in order to lift up off of the ground. This causes the tibialis anterior to relax when it stretches out, so this makes it the antagonist of the movement. As you can see, Jeremy's right leg is extended at the knee, and so this indicates that the agonist of the movement would be the quadricep because it is the major mover of the joint. Then, the antagonist must be the hamstring, as is when it is straightened out is relaxed, and so this makes it the antagonist. When Jeremy lifts off the ground and kicks the ball, he twists his upper body, and so this is a rotation of the upper body, and the power is generated from the latissimus dorsi. So this makes it the agonist as it contracts when you twist the torso. The antagonist is the external obliques, which simply stretch out and relax during the movement. Not only did the left arm go through abduction, but it also went through circumduction, and this is the movement of the left arm on the joint of the shoulder. So the power for this movement is created by the trapezius, deltoid, and latissimus dorsi. They contract throughout the movement, and so these are considered the agonists. The antagonists are the pectoralis major and tricep brachii. They are straightened throughout the whole movement and are more relaxed, making them the antagonists. There is a hip extension that is shown in this image, and it is generated by using the agonists, which are the gluteus maximus and the hamstring, and these cause the hip to twist or thrust forward slightly. The antagonist is the quadricep, which is stretched out a lot more and is not contracting. The quadriceps are found on the anterior of the upper leg, which are part of the thigh. Gastrocnemius and soleus, which are more commonly known as the calf muscle, are found on the lower leg on the posterior side of the body.
So in this movement there is an isometric contraction in the gastrocnemius muscle of the lower leg that stays on the floor in order to keep me balanced, stable, and to prevent me from falling over. There is also concentric contraction in my quadriceps as I straighten my leg as I go to kick the ball.